How we doing, Rams fans? Welcome into another episode of the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast here on Sports Illustrated, presented to you by the Fans First Sports Network. My name is Tom Cavanaugh, and today we're going to be taking a look at this upcoming matchup between the Rams at 5-5, taking on the red-hot Philadelphia Eagles, who are 8-2 on a 6-game win streak and possess the number one rushing attack in the entire league. It's going to be a big test for this Rams squad to see if they can compete with the best in the NFC, arguably one of the best teams in the NFL. Also going to look at a few storylines, break down this offensive attack for the Eagles, and get you prepped up, continue to give you more information ahead of Sunday Night Football for Week 12. You can follow myself, Tom Cavanaugh, at TCav30 on Twitter/X. Go follow our insider pages at Rams Insider on SI. You can get that on Twitter/X and Facebook. And then just type in your search bar Rams Sports Illustrated, and you'll be able to hit our site to find all of our dozens of articles posted weekly from all of our great writers. So first, we'll kick it off starting with this Philadelphia Eagles offense. One of the best in the league. Passing, they're pretty middle of the pack, but when it comes to running the football, they're number one, averaging over $180 per game. You look at the top two rushers, it's their two guys, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, combining for 19 total rushing touchdowns. They're the only two guys that have scored a rushing touchdown this year for the squad. Barkley, he is second in the league in total rushing yards with 1,137. That is right behind Derrick Henry, who's having an MVP type of season. Hurts is the second leading rusher with 417. And how about this? 11 rushing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts this year. I knew he'd been having a good year. I hadn't paid extremely close attention to what the Eagles have been doing this season. I knew about their 6-game win streak, taking down the Commanders with a big win last week on Thursday Night Football. But my goodness, 11 rushing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. Anytime they're inside the 5-yard line, you can just put the hand up and say, hey, he's going to run the football. And he'll find a way in somehow. He is second in the entire league in rushing touchdowns. He's up there with guys like Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry. He's the only quarterback in there. So very impressive from Jalen. His passing has also come along so far this year. He had 4 picks in his first 3 games. Made some poor decisions, throwing off his back foot, scrambling, just tossing it in the end zone. Bad decisions. Since that point, in his last 7 games, he's got a 6-1 record and only 1 interception. So Jalen's he's settled down. He's thrown for over 2,000 yards already this season. He's got 12 tutties and 5 picks so far. He's been sacked 28 times, which is kind of a high total, but with Hurts scrambling and trying to run for some big yards at times, he's going to take a sack from time to time. And that's where the Rams can really get after him, is chasing him down in the backfield, trying to get him for a loss of 7, 8, maybe 10 yards or more. In the receiving game, there's a few guys that are your typical bright spots. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, that's kind of their 1-2 punch, really stacking up there in the NFC with the Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp duo. Very similar between the two. A.J. Brown, 3 tutties, 618 yards, and then you got Devontae Smith, who has more reception or touchdown receptions. He's got 4 of them, but only 516 yards. Smith and Brown both have struggled with injuries midway through the first half of this season. They're back healthy now. Good to see that for them. Dallas Goedert, he's got over 300 yards. Calcaterra as well, 200. Barkley, he's used in the passing game quite often as well, over 210 yards, and he's third on the team in receiving touchdowns with 2 of them. Saquon, I mean, he's going to be catching those wheel routes, the flats, anything crossing over the middle. They're going to use him in a myriad of ways. So the Rams have to be ready, specifically at the linebacker position when Barkley's in the pass game. But they got to be ready for him to do multiple of different things, whether it's running the ball between the tackles, bumping it outside, which he's very good at, and then also catching passes on short 2nd and 3rd down situations. So when you look at this Eagles offense, they're potent, man. I mean, they've dominated 2 of their last 3 opponents. They had a close 5-point win over the Jaguars. I mean, this Eagles team, they can go on streaks like this and look like one of the best teams in the league, but then they can also play a game, and you can look at them and say, that is not the same team from a week ago. We saw that with the Rams when they took on the Dolphins and had their uncharacteristic, ugly performance, not scoring a touchdown and losing to a not-so-great Dolphins team. That was 2 weeks ago. Same thing can be said here with the Eagles. There's a chance always for them to go and lay an egg in a ball game. So either one of these teams, I mean, they have to bring their A game. I see this being a close one on Sunday night. I think Hurts plays well. It's going to be on the Rams defense to hold Barkley. In 4 out of Saquon's last 5 games, he has rushed for over 100 yards and has 4 touchdowns in that span. He needs to be stopped for less than 100 yards. That is a key stat in the game. If they're able to do that, they're going to limit that Saquon making Jalen Hurts forced to run, and then also forcing Hurts to pass the ball, which they're not even close to as good at as they are running the football. So make Hurts uncomfortable, see if you can get some pressure on him, make him scramble out, but keep contained so he doesn't have those big yardages, and then make him hoist it up, because he would much rather run the football or give it to Saquon than try to beat the Rams defense through the air. So taking a look at a few other storylines, we'll stay on the Barkley train right now. Head coach Sean McVay spoke and just gave him a lot of praise. Talked about how he has really spark plugged this Eagles team, a group in the Eagles that really fell off at the end of last year. I mean, they were looking like a top 2 seed in the NFC. They lost several of their final games, made it to a wild card against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and lost in the first round. So they're trying to have a bounce-back season. They bolstered their lineup, grabbing Saquon, and, I mean, they're better off for it, obviously, because Barkley's having his best season ever. He's on pace to shatter his 1,300-yard career best back in 2022 with the New York Giants. And McVay really, I mean, he talked about it at length on how they're going to be able to stop Barkley and what he's able to do, just getting vertical and running 60 yards down the field in a blink of an eye. One other point we want to make, talking about this Rams defense specifically, is a guy in Byron Young, second-year linebacker, who is on a little bit of a streak in one key stat. He's got 4 straight games with a recorded sack. Very impressive from Byron. He is now the team leader with 6, and there's a couple guys tied at 5. That would be sophomore Kobe Turner, and then also rookie Braden Fisk. Both have 5 as well. It's a team with 27 sacks, the Rams. They do a nice job of getting to the quarterback, and Byron Young's the guy that does it. If you go back to his first sack, it actually came on one of the last plays of the game back in Week 7 against the Vikings. That's where the streak started. It was a sack on Sam Darnold in the end zone, and it looked like a blatant missed face mask. You could see Byron putting his hands over his face. It's scrolling social media. It had been over the first over a couple of weeks after it was released, but yeah, that sack that went for a safety started off this 4-game streak, and he's looking to keep it going again this week. It's going to be tougher, obviously, because he's facing a more mobile quarterback than he has in the last few weeks. I mean, he was able to get to Tua Tagovailoa a couple weeks ago, but still, I mean, he was pretty limited after what he has gone through with concussion issues and that sort of thing. So Byron, a key piece, and you can't say enough about all the different members, the young members of this Rams defense that have continued to make a very positive impact. That's going to do it for us here on the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast. Just getting you some quick nuggets about this Eagles offense that you're going to see on Sunday Night Football at SoFi Stadium. Rams hoping to get right after their last primetime game 2 weeks ago against the Dolphins in a loss. And we were also looking at a few storylines. Byron Young, a big guy to watch out for, as well as how this Rams defense with Young is able to bottle up both Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. Once again, you can follow myself, Tom Cavanaugh, at TCAV30, and our insider pages on Twitter/X and Facebook at Rams Insider on SI. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. We will see you again tomorrow here on the LA Rams Pod.